Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Nearly 1.5 million Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week as a resurgence in coronavirus cases threatens what appeared to be the start of an economic recovery. Some businesses have reopened and rehired, but others are still laying off workers. Macy's said it would cut about 3,900 employees in corporate and management positions. Macy's is trying to offset millions of dollars in lost sales due to the pandemic, which Macy's chief Jeff Gannett said significantly impacted our business.
You think? Here's what's happening now. As we start to reopen, businesses realize people aren't spending money the same way. They don't need as many people. They don't need as many people, and the people they do have don't need as many hours. You talk all you want. The health side of this has been significant as we realize the financial side, which we have yet to see, because come August 1st, the avalanche of foreclosures, people getting kicked out, the realization that that money that was coming from the government may not be coming anymore. You may get your unemployment, but you may not be getting that $600 extra a week from the feds. That avalanche and financial ruin is going to take off. Much like you see with spikes around the country. We're like, well, so we only got 6 cases. The next day, you're like, we got 18 cases. Next day, we got 40 cases. No big deal. Then all of a sudden, you start to realize, whoa. We have not seen yet what this could look like. But I fear that we're going to see it. And I don't care what Trump says.
Jobs are up to a level that nobody's ever seen before. It's coming back very fast, coming back a lot faster than anybody thought possible. And I think you're going to see something very special. So we built the strongest economy in history once. Then we had to close it in order to save potentially millions of lives. We did it. Did a great job with it. The people did a great job with it. Now we're rebuilding the economy. The third quarter will be really great, which is coming up. The third quarter is going to be very, very good. Next year is going to be one of the best years we've ever had.
I would love to say that. Here's the reality. Doesn't matter who's president. The most important people in the recovery of their economy are also the most important people in the recovery of us against this virus. Those are the people, the men and women who are out trying to figure out how we have a therapeutic and eventually a vaccine. When that happens is when the economy will start to feel like it's getting its sea legs. Right now, uncertain, unstable. People don't know what's going to happen. They're seeing spikes across the country in big states. They're seeing hospitals feeling the pressure. And they're realizing that this is more endemic than pandemic. And that is going to have a big effect on the economy. And we've not felt it yet. I was talking to a company I work with out here in Phoenix that do mortgages and loans. Great company. And we were chatting. They're like, August 1st. Get ready for it. You're going to start to feel it. You're going to start to really feel it. I believe it. And I don't care who the president is. If this thing is, I do believe this thing is going to hang around in such a way that this may be like the new flu, where we will get a vaccine, but it may not be everybody gets the shot and they're immune. Because some people they're talking about, even if they have a vaccine, the people that are at most risk may be not able to receive it. You're like, what? Yeah. But let's say we all get the vaccine and it's effective 50% of the time, kind of like the flu. Sometimes it's 30%, sometimes it's 60%, because there's 2 strands. You got flu A, flu B. People are still going to get this. People are still going to get sick and die. We have to learn to live with it, build up an immunity, so each season that passes, it's less and less of a burden on us financially and health-wise. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Debbie Downer because I think opportunities are abound in an economy like this. But the reality is, as we all participate in it, we kind of all thought, well, it's eventually going to kind of go away. We'll get a respite. They'll come up with a therapeutic. They'll come up with a vaccine, which I do think is going to happen. And by the time it comes back in the fall, we're going to be sitting pretty because we'll start to build back the economy. We'll go from 17, 18% unemployment down to, 8 or 9% unemployment. And it'll be just kind of muddling through for several months. And then we'll take off again in the middle of next year. I still think the opportunity's there for that. But the light switch, away it goes, all of those things, I don't think it's going to happen the way people think. I just don't. When I talk to the economists, and by the way, I talk to economists on the left side of the aisle and the right side of the aisle, and they kind of echo the same thing. Most important people in all of this are the scientists and doctors. They're trying to figure out how to get this thing under control and manageable so we can return to the daily things that we used to do. Concerts, movies, sporting events, eating out, spending money. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Speaking of said coronavirus, Trump testing.
But just remember this. The reason we have more cases than other countries is because our testing is so much. Here's what I say. Testing is a double-edged sword. In one way, it tells you have cases. In another way, you find out where the cases are, and you do a good job. We are doing a great job. We have never been credited for it. We're doing the best testing job anywhere in the world.
I don't know if we're doing the best testing job anywhere in the world, but, and this is the craziness. Are we doing the best testing job? Probably not. Could we do better? I think some places are doing really good. I think other places are struggling. I can't blame that all on Trump. Are we doing the worst job that everybody in CNN, MSNBC, and everywhere else brings up? No, we're not. We're doing neither of those. We're not the greatest in the world at it, and we're not the worst at the world at it. And testing is frustrating because it's only as good as the moment you took the test. What we're seeing now is these jumps in cases around the country in certain areas. They're all 20 to 39, the majority of them. Younger people out having a good time, living their life. Chances of them dying from this are very, very slim. So you'll see the death rate drop. But there's pressure. Hospitals are feeling pressure in certain areas. It was never about getting it to zero. It was never about getting it to zero, which is what I think a lot of people thought we would. Oh, we're going to get it to zero. And then once we get it to zero, we can go back out and live our lives. It was never going to be that way. We need to test. We need to be strategic in the way that we test. We need to understand, though, that testing itself is only as good as the moment you take the test. And depending on how long it takes you to get back those results, that's something else. That is something else. But it's not as bad as the likes of Don Lemon.
This has nothing to do with increased testing, nothing at all. More than half of states are seeing an increase in cases. Look at the map in front of you, with real and frightening spikes across the South and the West. This is a warning, okay? New confirmed cases across this country are the highest that they have been since April. Please, it's incredibly sad that I have to say this, but if you value your health at this point, do not believe the President of the United States. The President of the United States who was acting today as if the coronavirus is in the rearview mirror.
Which is not something he should be doing. But he has. Oh, it's over. It's pretty much over. It's done. He is who he is, right? He's P.T. Barnum. He's always trying to sell you something. I was talking to my uncle last night, who is my best friend in the world, and we're business partners, and he's a huge Trump supporter and a giant troll. Producer Phil, would you say my Uncle Paul is a bit of a troll on the interwebs? Would that fair to say?
I love your Uncle Paul.
Uncle Paul's the greatest troll in the world because Paul trolls with facts, so that frustrates people, and he brings facts to the, But as we were talking about Trump last night and talking about this stuff, even he said, he gets frustrated when I said, Paul, he's out there saying, well, it's over. It's done. It's in the rearview mirror. And he's like, yeah, that frustrates me because obviously it's not. And I said, it's not. I mean, who are you saying that to? I said, but that's the P.T. Barnum in Trump. Always selling something. It's the biggest fish you'll ever see. Is it the biggest fish ever? No. But people will buy it. We need to test, but we also need to realize that testing's only a part of it. This thing isn't going anywhere. How do we get past it? How do we learn to live with it in the moment? And we'll figure out how we defeat it in the future. Those are the things we need to be doing. And it's frustrating at times because I want my president, no matter who he or she is, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, to succeed. I want them to do the best that they can and succeed. I hate the partisan BS that we've gotten ourselves into over masks, for God's sake. Wait till you hear I've got some audio later that is just downright like, don't. I'm telling you guys, it is frustrating because I see what's happening. I see restaurants closing down again. Now's not the time to argue, to win an election, to do these kind of things that we're doing now with the mask or not masks. Now we need to figure out how do we live around this thing, live through this thing, defeat it later, and how do we do it without blowing up our economy and setting us back years and years. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Speaking of mask, my buddies over at Boomer Naturals have the best mask. 3 layers, 65% cotton, 35% polyester. So these face coverings are awesome. Put them on, super comfortable, extra large, large, medium, small, children's sizes. Why that matters? Because if it doesn't fit your face, it's not going to be effective. And that's what you want. You want it to be effective. They got all kinds of different colors. It's great. 65% cotton, 35% polyester, treated with nanosilver technology, antiviral protection, antibacterial protection, stays on the cloth for 30 days. Less than 30 cents a day is what these masks cost. And this is what's great. Take them home at night, wash them in warm water and soap, and you just let them hang out there overnight. They dry, put them on the next day, and away you go. Now's your chance. Take your health and everybody else's health into account. If it can help stop the spread of one, that's a win right there. And for a cost that's right, go to boomernaturals.com, save 20% right there. All orders over $50 receive free shipping. Use the code CHAD20. Boomernaturals.com, boomernaturals.com, code CHAD20. Boomernaturals.com, code CHAD20. Chad Benson Show.
I, you, he, she, it. Lucy is a girl.
Point of personal privilege, please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Shut up, boo. Ain't nobody got time for this.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
So I'm currently meeting with the great president of Poland, okay? Love the Poles, love the people of Poland, love, stripper Poles are probably my favorite Pole that they've ever had, so I like what they've done, I respect it. The great tradition, from what I hear, I don't know if this is true, but Poland also very strong in low IQ individuals. But I love the Polish president, I love what they're doing, and I'd like to tell you a joke right now, okay? What, if it's okay, Mr. Polish president? Love the sausage, but Mike, you love the Polish sausage, right? Well, it's one of the great sausages.
Jail cough in there. So funny. It's not very nice, Chad. You're mocking our I'm not mocking the president. It's funny. It is funny. That is funny. That was not the president. But here's the funny thing. You could put that out and say, oh, God, listen to this. And there's people out there that will totally believe it. Because they're just so sold. It is crazy how sold they are and stuff. Oh, goodness me. Bolton, we're hoping to have him on sometime next week, was on The View because he's got a book to sell. And if you've got a book to sell and you're high profile, you're going to go on everything you can go on. And Joy Behar called him out.
I can tell you that as somebody who's been involved in national security for a long time, I have a pretty good sense of what's classified and what's not. I never intended to reveal classified information that would damage the United States, and I went through a very arduous 4-month pre-publication review process to ensure that there was no classified information. It was never any part of my plan to release classified information. All I wanted to do was tell the truth about my experience in the Trump administration, and that apparently was too much for him.
Okay. So too much for him? Never going to tell it? Your book got out. It was leaked kind of smartly. Thank you very much, Producer Phil. And it was, it was out there. So he's on The View doing his thing, and I'm okay with her taking him to task.
You were working for Trump for 17 months, and you write about all this horrible stuff you saw go on, and yet you never said a word until someone gave you $2 million to write a book about it. If you testify under oath about the unconstitutional and possible criminal behavior of this president, will you do that?
Well, look, there are a lot of possibilities coming up. I don't have any fear whatever of testifying under oath. Because I have set forth in this book as accurately as I can what I saw and heard.
Under oath. Would you do it? One of the things he says and he talks about is, look, it wouldn't have mattered if I testified. He wasn't going anywhere. It wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered.
The impeachment issue, I felt very strongly, and still do, that the way the impeachment process was carried out was needlessly partisan and doomed to failure. I didn't march to the same drummer as the Democratic House leadership. My view was that if you're going to get this information out, it had to be done the right way, and the way they were proceeding, I think, would have guaranteed much of what I said in the book simply would have been ignored.
Yeah, and that I understand. And for those of you, what he's saying is, yeah, he probably did need to be impeached, but the way that the Democrats went about it and turned it into a show made it impossible for that to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Is Mount Rushmore next? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
This is now the 14th straight week jobless claims remained above 1 million as businesses reopen to weak demand, and the virus brings mixed signals. Hard-hit New York is back, but Texas, California, and Utah are showing record-high daily infections, raising fears of setbacks.
Until we can get people on board with the message of wearing masks and social distancing and staying home when they're sick, we will likely continue to see this type of an increase.
Tom Udacco at the Utah Health Department. The renewed outbreak hinders recovery if it makes consumers less willing to be in crowded places.
That's part of it. What did I say when this first happened? Even if you open everything up, you're still going to have people that are going to be worried about two things: catching it and losing their job because they're fearing a second close down. So they're not going to spend money. Most of the people are right now filing. People are like, well, how many people are filing for unemployment every week? Who else is out there? Well, you've had a lot of businesses that reopened in the last several weeks. And what they're realizing is we can't keep everybody. Oh. We can't. We don't need everybody. And the people we keep, we may not need the amount of hours that they had pre-coronavirus. So you're going to see a slowdown. Some of it is psychological. Some of it as far as, I don't want to spend money today because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The other part of that psychology is people are afraid to get sick. They don't want to be out in certain places. It's understandable. I get it. Trust me, I get it. You know, this whole thing about the mask thing, that's what we've gotten to, which is chaos. Out here yesterday, we had anti-mask rally, which is just bizarre, right? So we get this anti-mask rally. Orange County, California. You had an anti-mask rally last week. Break up a pro-mask rally. And you're like, oh, God, this is where we are. And the joke about, this is a real joke, but here's the reality of it. You can look at people and say, I can kind of tell how you voted, depending on the mask. For me, the mask is, and it's not everybody, right? It's not you voted for Trump, so you don't wear a mask, or you voted for Hillary, and you're a Democrat, so you do wear a mask. It's not always that. There's a group of people, I'd say almost a third of people, who no longer trust the experts because every day the experts tell you something different. You should wear a mask. You shouldn't wear a mask. It helps. It doesn't really help. Well, it does help, just not that much. So you've got a lot of that out there as well. And I think what hurt, I've talked to several people, what really hurt last week was Fauci admitting, I lied at the beginning saying you didn't have to wear a mask because we needed to keep the PPEs for the healthcare workers. And that to me was one of those things where I have trouble with that. And I think a lot of people have. So you've got the maskers versus the anti-maskers. And Florida, well, kids. Florida took it up a level.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. We, the people, are waking up, and we know what citizen's arrest is, because citizen's arrests are already happening. And every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity. Every single one of you are going to get punished by God.
Wow. That's, she's not done. So we're calling her Karen. Florida Karen.
You cannot escape God.
Cannot escape God, and God's going to punish you because God apparently, this is just in her mind, does not like masks. Totally anti-mask.
With the mask or 6 feet, okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're going to scan everybody? We got to get scanned. We got to get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks? Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now.
She didn't cuss, though. Right the heck now. I feel like I don't think she's all there. I'm just going to say that. I think it's God's mad at them because of the mask thing. I don't know what that's all about. She's the woman where she prays to God. You know the old joke, because people come, they drive on the truck, say, hey. There's a flood coming. You need to get out. She's like, nah, don't worry. God's going to save me. All right. Then people come in a boat and, hey, Karen, flood's here. Let's get in the boat. Let's go. No, I'm praying to God. She's on top of her house now. Helicopter comes. Get in the helicopter. The flood's here. You're going to die. No, I'm praying to God. And then she gets to heaven and God's like, what are you doing? Well, I prayed. Why didn't you save me? He goes, I send you a truck. Send you a boat. Send you a helicopter. What more do you want? That's what I kind of feel like Karen's about, right?
And then you want to open this meeting with a prayer to God. Are you praying to the devil? Because God is not listening to that prayer. Because all of you are practicing the devil's laws. What happened to Bill Gates? Why is he not in jail? Why is Hillary Clinton not in jail? Why are all of these pedophiles that are demanding you all to listen to their rules? Why are they not not in jail? Are you part of the deep state? Your time has expired. The deep state is going down. If any of you are in the deep state, you're going down with it.
I'm gonna say, producer Phil, would you say that's a Trump supporter? I'm just gonna throw it out there. You feeling that? Yeah? You watching Hannity? Anthony probably agrees too. Everybody, we're all on this? Little Trump supporter? Chad, that's not very nice. Now, that's Florida. Let's go to another Orange County. This one's in California. I'm telling you guys, it's the mask versus the anti-mask. And when I talked to one of our news reporters yesterday, I said, Luke, he's a young guy, good young reporter, does a lot of things around here. It's the first time he's gone out and covered anything, and he's at the anti-mask rally. And I said, dude, what was it like? He says, dude, I get there, right? And I said, the first thing I see is you guys, you guys are not going to believe this. There's a flat earther. And then there's a guy dressed like a Native American who has the flag painted on his face, and they're yelling at each other. And the Native American guy says, this guy is a plant to make us look bad. And they're arguing over that. Like, this is where, that's all he took away from that. I'm like, that's all you need.
You're telling me that I have to breathe in CO2 when God gave this body the ability to extract that from my body, and now you want me to put it back in my body.
Making our children wear masks is contrary to the medical experts, and it's fundamentally wrong. They need to be exposed to bacteria in the air, playing on jungle gyms. Kids need sunlight, exercise, interaction. If you deny them that, in 20 years you're going to have a population of immunosuppressed, antisocial adults who can only interact via Zoom and FaceTime.
Your time is up. I have been discriminated 5 times in the last 2 days. I have been actually turned away. I cannot go in these businesses without a mask, even though I have a health condition. Your time is up.
I go to a resort, nobody's wearing a mask. Then I come here, everybody's wearing a mask. I go to a protest, nobody.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Stop imposing Chinese communism tactics. This is America. We need our essential bread.
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
It's great. Oh, my goodness. People say, oh, do you wear a mask? If they ask me, like around here, that's the protocol inside the studios, is I wear a mask when I'm out of the studio. Now, I'm very different than the other people here because I'm here for like 16 hours a day. So I do my show, but I'm on I've got my own studio and nobody's over here, so I don't wear a mask when I go do anything. On the other side, when I go and I do my other show with my partner, my life partner, no, but my on-air partner, Gatos, inside the studio, we don't wear a mask. Inside of our office, when we're prepping, we're not wearing a mask. But when we're walking around, whether we're going to get something to drink, going to the bathroom, whatever it is, I'll put a mask on. Because that's what they've asked me to do. I'm respectable. I respect the rules that are out there. This shouldn't be one of those silly things. People do. And the problem is we've allowing the extremes on both sides. The anti-maskers and the maskers who will tell on you and call 911. We had to have the chief of police on the other day to tell people to stop calling 911 on people who aren't wearing masks. It's insane. It is. We've turned a virus into politics. And at some point in time, I think we need to take a step back and go, okay, we've had enough of this. This is ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can, yes, kids, text the program, which I love that you do. You check us out on the Instagram and YouTube. We kicked it off yesterday. Still playing around with it, so settle down. But Chad Benson Show TV, check it out on the tube of you as well. We're going to try to do a couple videos, big videos a week, and lots of daily stuff as well as we start to grow this thing. And it's a one-man band, so bear with me, even though I've got other people that help at times with the video stuff. But I'm doing a lot of it. Are you a control freak? No! We're all spread out all over the country. Literally, producer Phil and I and Anthony, we are the kings of social distancing right now. The kings of it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Gold. So you're seeing what's going on in the market. Volatility is there. We're in the most volatile time right now. The marketplace likes stability. The dollar right now is getting crushed and is going to get crushed, I think, long term. What do? You want to protect your retirement and your wealth, but you also want to increase that. That's where Valid Gold Group comes in. Over 50 years of combined experience And understand this, gold has outperformed the stock market and bond market over the past 20 years by 300%. Think about that. Call them today, 800-202-6936. 800-202-6936. You're going to find out how you can protect your wealth and your retirement as the marketplace continues to be volatile and the dollar starts to struggle. They've got a time-tested, proven strategy that is amazing. I was talking to them last week, and we were going over stuff that I had done in the past, and they've got, with algorithms, stuff that's just, it's mind-blowing. They're IRA approved, so gold and silver, you can now have it in your IRA. 800-202-6936, Valor Gold Group. Valor Gold Group. They're going to give you the free exclusive copy on the number one way to protect your wealth with confidence. Valor Gold Group, 800-202-6936, or visit Valor, VALOR, goldgroup.com/Chad, valorgoldgroup.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
100%, absolutely, no question about it. Donald Trump doesn't want to run a country. He wants to run a campaign. Joe Biden actually wants to run a country.
Here's my thing with Biden. Everybody wants to let him drive the country when I doubt many people would want to let him drive a car they're in. That's the reality of I do not believe Joe Biden is the crazy socialist that people pay. Oh, he's not a socialist. And Joe's got some serious questions that need to, for all the talk of Trump and racism, this, that, and the other, in this cancel culture world, there's going to be serious questions with his record. As I explained yesterday, he voted on busing and integration. I mean, these are things that he's got some serious stuff. We all remember Kamala Harris and him getting into it on the busing issue. So he's got a record. That's how long he's been around. Trump only has 4 years, and it's been chaotic. It has been absolutely chaotic. Do I think Trump and Biden are two separate individuals? That Trump is not a politician. He's a salesman. Trump is not. Joe Biden's a politician. Trump doesn't care what you think. He goes with his guts. If Trump was running a major corporation that was public, not private, remember his is private, he would have been fired. It's too unstable. My biggest frustration with Trump, with all the chaos, his hiring practices are awful. And he doesn't have somebody around him that he listens to. And that's frustrating. We can't argue with his actions. He got his 200th judge confirmed today. He's reshaping the courts. I've said since day one, Trump's biggest legacy will probably be the court system. We'll take away COVID-19 because this is a moment in time, a speed bump now. His biggest legacy is going to be the court system that will be felt for decades, especially if he gets a third nominee. Well, they haven't gone the way that he sought. I understand that. Remember, like the DACA thing, the judges didn't argue whether he was right or wrong or had any kind of because I'm sitting there and I'm reading, and I'm like, they're not arguing whether or not he's right or wrong. That wasn't it. Or whether or not he has the power to undo. They were arguing about, like a lot of things that Trump has done, whether it was the temporary halting when it came to visas and people coming here from nations that have been identified as nations who harbor and or create terrorists. The way that they go about doing it is so slap hazard at times. It was a loss, but you go they were going to go back at it, and you watch what happens. His big problem in so many ways is the fact that he's not checked by somebody who says, let's slow down, let's measure twice and cut once. Trump's whole thing is, I'll cut 1,000 times till I get it right. Well, that gets frustrating after a while. Biden isn't going to be that. Biden is measured, and he's going to be, it's all based on politics. His big issue is not only the cognitive side, which is a very fair thing to talk about, but it's also who are you picking to be your running mate? Because that person is going to be the most important vice presidential pick in recent memory, because they will have the clock started for their presidential campaign if he wins and sworn in. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Carly Fiorina, also Ted Cruz's running mate for the thing that he didn't get presidency, said she's going to vote for Biden as well. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting, kids. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Nearly 1.5 million Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week as a resurgence in coronavirus cases threatens what appeared to be the start of an economic recovery. Some businesses have reopened and rehired, but others are still laying off workers. Macy's said it would cut about 3,900 employees in corporate and management positions. Macy's is trying to offset millions of dollars in lost sales due to the pandemic, which Macy's chief Jeff Gannett said significantly impacted our business.
Wait, what? Shutting down the entire economy significantly impacted your business? Are you kidding me? I was unaware that would happen. Unemployment. Not good. People are starting to realize, I don't care what Trump says at this moment in time, because you can sell it to you that tomorrow you're just going to flip the switch. Everything's going to be good. Greatest time in the history of times as far as is that. Will we get back on our feet? Yeah. Do I believe not only can we get back on our feet, we can get back faster? I absolutely think that. But I also believe that this virus is having a much bigger toll than people realize, and we've not felt that gut punch. That's coming in August. And nothing may happen between. We could even see a slowdown of cases, a dwindling of cases. But what we're going to have is the realization that that $600 of federal money, that's probably going to go away. So if you're on unemployment, you're getting $600 a week from the Fed, that's probably going to go away. So you'd be stuck with unemployment that you have from your state. On top of that, the forbearances, the foreclosures are going to start to come because those things are gone. They've been filing. Landlords are asking, hey, you know what? I realize you're in a tough position, but I'm in a tough position as well. So you're going to start to see that. That is going to be the next gut punch that will be like, okay, because it's the cause and effect. We know what the cause is. And we understand there's going to be an effect, but it is a buildup. And it's coming. It is.
Jobs are up to a level that nobody's ever seen before. It's coming back very fast, coming back a lot faster than anybody thought possible. And I think you're going to see something very special. So we built the strongest economy in history once. Then we had to close it in order to save potentially millions of lives. We did it. Did a great job with it. The people did a great job with it. Now we're rebuilding the economy. The third quarter will be really great, which is coming up. The third quarter is going to be very, very good. Next year is going to be one of the best years we've ever had.
Yeah, and I think we're going to come back. I think he's right in a lot of those things. That look, jobs were amazing pre this. I for all the chaos and craziness, I give Trump kudos for the way he handled the economy. If you don't, it's because you hate the man. So you're not going to. Doesn't matter what he does, you're always going to hate him. As much as he wants to flick the switch, and it's going to happen, what's starting to happen now is you're seeing these big corporations realize, I don't need this many people. We kind of overhired before, and right now, the slowdown is here. And while we've reopened, guess what? People are afraid to go spend money. Whether it's they're worried if they're going to have a job or they're worried they're going to catch something, psychologically, that is playing on everybody's mind. On top of that, the people that are staying around, maybe they've taken a salary cut. I've got several friends that have taken a salary cut. And I've got several friends who have said, all right, well, here's the deal. You know, it's like they don't need me as much as they did. So you keep your job, but you're not getting your 40 hours a week. You're only working 25. So that's lost income as well. These are all starting to add up. And the housing side of it is going to catch up starting in August. And then the worry of, is there going to be another shutdown? Larry Kudlow.
Fatalities are still down, and there's a lot of positive declines in cases, just as there are negative declines in cases. So, you just have to walk through that. But no, we will not shut the economy down.
And I don't think you can. Right? You're not going to be able to shut the economy down on a federal level. On a state-by-state level, I think that is a possibility. But governors are walking a tough line. They are. They're walking this tightrope that is I wouldn't be surprised if you see in certain states certain industries or businesses be asked to change their model or shut down. Not all across the board. But when you see the rise in cases right now, it's mostly young people. They're out and about. They're doing stuff. They're going to the river. They're going to clubs. They're doing things. They've been pent up and sitting inside of their houses for months. And the ones who have been working in a skeleton crew, avoiding people, and now they're getting out there. And they're the ones catching it, which is, hey, if you're going to have anybody catch it, a 24-year-old healthy person is the right person you would hope to say, oh, I think they're going to be okay. But this is an issue. And as much as President Trump wants to flip the switch, as much as I think every governor wants to, as much as I do, and everybody else wants to see this thing return, here's the reality. The most important person or persons when it comes to the economy are the people that are fighting this thing on the vaccine and therapeutic side, trying to come up with something that will allow us to just get right back at it the way we were before. The psychological aspect of that cannot be understated. I mean, it cannot be overstated. It cannot be overstated. That's huge. To know that, hey, if I catch this thing, I'm going to be absolutely fine. You got a vaccine and a therapeutic, and I'm in good health, and I don't have to worry, and I don't have to quarantine. I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. And one of the things over the last several weeks I've taken away is, for a lot of people, the fear is I'm going to give it to somebody who is going to struggle and may die. That's everybody's number one fear. Somebody else is going to catch this because of me, and they're going to be in serious trouble or die. And the second thing is, I don't want people to know I have it because I don't want to stop doing stuff. I don't want to be told I can't come to work for 2 weeks. I don't want to be told I can't. That's a big thing. It's crazy, but it's not going anywhere, and the effect is real, and we're feeling it, and that lag time is going to really pick up over the next 6 to 8 weeks as far as the damage, and we'll have a clearer picture on how the rebuild starts. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. You can text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Yesterday, GOP rolled out what they would like to see done in the world of policing. And, of course, the moment they were finished talking about it, it was killed by the Democrats.
The stereotyping of Republicans is just as toxic and poison to the outcomes of the most vulnerable communities in this nation.
Yeah, Senator Tim Scott right there. It's sad because here's a perfect example of an opportunity when it comes to policing that we can dig into and start to really do something with. That will be more modern, that will be better, that will give our police better tools, better training, will help bridge that gap between community and policing and that distrust. And that's not going away tomorrow. That's a generational thing. That's going to take a while. But when politics gets involved, what ends up happening? Whatever we usually end up getting is watered down and really doesn't do the job it was set out to do because they're too busy trying to figure out, how can I win this?
They cannot allow this party to be seen as a party that reaches out to all communities in this nation.
Some of that's true. Some of that is true. Not all of it. There's not too... one of the big things is they want to get rid of qualified immunity. Qualified immunity, break it down, keep it simple, stupid. What? That cops can be sued as individuals. You can sue the person rather than... Right now they have a blanket qualified immunity. So if you sue, you are suing the police force, the city. You're not suing the individual in his or her line of duty. There are certain things that they do that they're allowed to do where they get immunity from. Now, if it's outside of said work, right? Like if Derek Chauvin did what he did to George Floyd and he wasn't in uniform and it was a random thing as an individual, you can. Rare circumstances. But when you take away qualified immunity, that means every time an officer comes into contact and the person doesn't like it, that person can file a lawsuit. Well, there's going to be limits. Is there? Because we always hear about limits, and then we find out the limits are very few. That's one of that may be the biggest sticking point. First of all, who wants to be a cop now? Not many people. Secondly, and this is important, how are they going to be able to afford to be a police officer if you have to spend a quarter, half your salary just for insurance to protect you from lawsuits? And on the other side of things, every time there's a lawsuit, what do you have to do? You have to get a lawyer. And, here's something else. You take away qualified immunity there, you can probably take it away from governors, politicians, and yes, ready for this, like judges. How do you think that's going to go? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Nobody's interested in getting anything done unless they can win. And it shouldn't be about winning as a politician. It should be about winning for the people. But they're not interested in that. Rough Greens, my dog wins. Doodle, he's awesome. Bounces around. Bing, 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 bing. He didn't used to do that. He used to growl. When you get anywhere near, you could scratch his head, but if you got anywhere near his hind legs, he would. Now I don't have to worry about that. He runs around, he bounces, he plays with the puppies on a daily basis. All that I did, because we were really considering putting him down a couple months ago. I'm like, I just can't. He nips and he bites and he's upset and he just does it. It was so sad and I was bummed. And then Rough Green says, try this. You just take it, sprinkle it on his food. After about 7 days, you could see the difference. After 10 days, it was like, wow, we're months into it. He's a whole new dog. 25 all-natural vitamins and minerals, digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omegas 3, 6, 9. I can go on and on with all the stuff that's inside there, but it brings the food to life and gives them those things that they need to keep them healthier. Rough Greens can reduce or completely eliminate your dog's symptoms. It's a 14-day jumpstart. Get ready for this. It's $14.95. Like $1 a day. I think you'll see changes that are more than worth it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88. RUFFgreens.com/Chad to get your 14-day jumpstart for $14.95. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's find out what's trending in the world of the internet. Love it. What's going on? Craziness. Earthquake, California. Yesterday was a big thing. Pokemon Unite. Big time. Uniting. Pokemon Unite is a League of Legends style team-based strategy for Pokemon, baby. Pokemon. Dennis Quaid. He's trending because he married a 9-year-old. No, wait. I'm kidding. She's 22. Is she 22 or is she 26? That's really stupid. Shut up. You do the same thing if you could, but you can't, so get over it. PGA Tour is trending, and the reason Brooks Koepka and Webb Simpson are among 5 of the PGA's biggest names who are supposed to play this week and will not be playing because of COVID-19, which sucks. I love Webb's great, and Brooks is just all. And it sucks, too, because his brother qualified on Monday. So they were going to, hopefully have a chance to play together. So that's not cool. That's damn you, COVID. But at least we got golf back. Gone over to the magic world of Twitter where everybody's tweeting and stuff. Carly Fiorina expressed support for Joe Biden. The Trump virus. People are like, I can't believe he called it the Kung Flu. I'm like, get over yourself. Well, that's racist. I'm like, why is it racist? Because Kung Fu is Chinese. I'm like, Kung Fu's not a race. It's martial art. Get over yourself. Well, it is racist. No, shut up. Shut up. Call it the Chinese flu. You know what I want to call it? The communist flu. Because the communists lied, BS'd, hid, did all kinds of stuff. You want to call this the G flu? You can call it that. How about that? Whatever. Disneyland's delaying the reopening of its theme park. We're going to have Mickey Mouse on a little bit later to talk about that. Nevada, Vegas tells visitors you guys got to cover up. And we're not talking about your mask. Oh, Chad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Non-employment, new numbers. 1.5 million almost filed for unemployment. Continuing to rise. I think people thought it was going to level out and slowly dissipate, and this was going to be the takeoff time. That might be delayed, kid. We have bad weather. We're going to come on back to the tower and wait till the weather clears. The virus clears so we could take off. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, Stossel. Great piece about activism and journalism. And guess what? It's right. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Crazy world that we live in. times. Tearing down statues, trying to rewrite history. It's nuts. It really is nuts. And it's been coming for a while. I think a lot of people, and I'm going to give credit to people who are right-leaning in the media, in their space that they're at, because they're not all in the same space, which is the establishment media. A lot of them have had to make other inroads in, but we've all talked about it. I'm independent, but I'm not an idiot. I've seen what's going on in colleges for years and decades, and we've talked about it in the workplace, that they're going out into the workplace. These kids who, in many cases, have got this crazy ideology of uber groupthink. So groupthink only, my way or the highway. And they're no longer workers, they're activists. And that's scary, especially when it comes to things like the media. Because getting in there, into places like the establishment media, and we're seeing it now. I'm not talking about Fox and CNN and MSNBC. Right? They're there to fill the niche so people can go and consume that way. What scares me more is what's supposed to be the mainstream media of journalism is now activism.
Several years ago, this mob of angry students at Yale surrounded this professor.
Why can't you say sorry?
Saying sorry is never enough.
It's not necessary for you to understand that you're wrong.
What horrible thing had Professor Nicholas Christakis done? He defended his wife, sending out a Halloween email saying, whose business is it to control costumes of young people like turbans or headdresses?
Now I am actually angry, sir. I really do not interrupt me. Now I want your job to be taken from you.
It was.
Yeah. We had Brett Weinstein on before. Remember him? Cool dude. Very progressive, right? Left-leaning libertarian, I would say. But he was the guy up at Evergreen College when they said all white professors and people need to get off campus. And he's like, nah. And next thing you know, he's in trouble. That's scary because that kind of attitude. And the problem is we think it's not a big deal. It is kind of a big deal because they're getting out into the workplace. They're in their 30s now. They want to have not just us say, they want to have the only say. They want to make sure that nothing is up for debate outside of their own feelings and emotions. And that's a scary thing. That really is. Because we've gotten to the point now where cancel culture, which used to be that stupid, isn't stupid. It's real. And for most people, it's not if, but when are they going to come? And it's a pick and choose area. But when they get into the other workforces, it's frustrating, even around here. I mean, Mike, here's the crazy. We have interns. And they'll tell you essentially what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, what they want to be addressed as. And you're like, are you kidding me? I won't work with them. I refuse to. I used to love to mentor. I was talking to my uncle yesterday. And he's like, I got one intern, Chad, who is just amazing. I have another intern that tells me everything that I need to know about them, how to address them, and all of that stuff. Also, when they're available and when they're not available, and they'll get back to me. Part of it isn't just the crazy indoctrination. Part of it's also the entitlement. So not only are they indoctrinated, they're entitled. That's a double whammy.
Now these students have graduated.
They're now moving off the campus and into the broader culture and into the workplace,
where they demand that people not say certain things. At the Philadelphia Inquirer,
there was an article published in the paper with the title, Buildings Matter Too.
It was a bad headline, linking buildings with Black lives. 44 staff members claimed this carelessness puts our lives at risk. Their letter didn't give any evidence how it threatened their lives, but they won.
The top editor at the Inquirer resigned.
That's insane. That is insane. And I like how there's no data. There's no facts. You just feel that your live's in place because you didn't like a headline that somebody did about buildings lives matter or whatever it was. And you feel like, oh, like you're Charlie Hebdo. But you're not worried about what? I guarantee you, it's not, we're not worried about, the Black Lives Matter. What we're worried about is crazy, right-wing, loony nut jobs. And you're just like, wow, that's nuts. How about this?
Jace is on the case.
Some people want to cancel Paw Patrol.
What the activists are saying, we should have fewer positive portrayals of law enforcement in the media.
Being a police dog takes a lot of hard work.
So some people said defund Paw Patrol for brainwashing kids into thinking law enforcement's noble and just.
So we're sitting here telling you that you are being racist. You are being offensive.
Today's young activists say, we know what's just, and it's our job to stop you from saying offensive things.
Yeah. No, that's not. And that's what you get going on right now. That's why tearing down statues and all this stuff is becoming real. We joked earlier about Mount Rushmore. You don't think? Sean King's out there screaming, we need to get rid of white Jesus. Let's get rid of Jesus. Break the stained glass. This is where it's gotten to. And people are like, yeah, we need to do that. Let's rewrite history. Let's get rid of stuff. People say, Chad, do you support Black Lives Matter? I'll say right now, Black Lives Matter. And the average person that supports it, that's part of the cause. I get behind that. The people that run it, the people that are politically motivated, who aren't interested in anything other than using the cause to further their cause, I can't get behind that. And their cause isn't all about, oh, it's this or it's that. This is Patrisse Cullors, who's one of the founders. Listen to this.
I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
Trained Marxist. That's Marxism. They're not interested in going out and saying, hey, how do we bridge the gap? How do we do these things? How do we become a better society? They're interested in power and tearing everything down. And they've said as much. If we have to tear it down and burn it down, we will. That's not the average person that's out there saying, I don't want another George Floyd. I don't want stop and frisk. I want policing and sentencing and the systemic racism to go away. No, this is let's tear it all down and rebuild it. And that is scary. And it starts too because you got kids in school who are running around and getting professors who teach, I hate America. I hate capitalism. I hate the West. It's all bad. Here you go. And then you get the insanity of what we have nowadays, where one tweet, one giggle, one like can ruin everything.
How can you allow someone to say something that offends me?
The problem with that is
we're supposed to occasionally offend each other because you might be wrong. We have to have a conversation about it. We have to challenge dogma. What if we were still with the principle that you couldn't speak out against the king? That's the history of the Middle Ages, is people suffering violent consequences for daring to offend people.
Galileo was arrested for saying the earth revolved around the sun.
That's the conditions that all humans lived under, and it was a much less happy place.
You think? Think about that. He said, hey, let me tell you what goes on here for real. This is what I think. Heretic, evil, bad. Yeah, we don't want that. To move forward, we have to do what? We have to be uncomfortable, have conversations that are going to make people uncomfortable. But those are the conversations. And I don't care what those conversations are. Conversations with yourself where you've got to go, I got to get real. I drink too much. I eat too much. All those are real conversations. Sometimes they're with yourself, and sometimes it's a bigger societal issue.
Then we came to an idea that, no, we improve society by having frank and sometimes difficult conversations about how we're going to get along and live together.
But now, influential young people say some things must never be said.
It's starting at some elite media institutions, but I predict that it will spread out further unless a serious effort is made by people to confront it.
And we need to confront it. We do. Because a few years ago, it was like, that was silly, or that was stupid, or it's not going to happen. Then you wake up and you realize that you don't need a lot inside of a movement to change a lot outside of it. Depending on what study you're looking at, they say you need anywhere between about 12 and about 16% of the population to get behind something for it to really take hold. Cancel culture needs to be canceled. We need to learn humility and forgiveness. People do make mistakes. Some people are just bad human beings. You're not going to fix them. But it's more than just that. And when we try to rewrite history and tear it down rather than build up and try to understand, do you think that's going to be anything that moves us forward if we chop it all down? No, I think what you're going to do is you're going to piss off another side. And it's sad because too many times what starts out is something that you think, hey, I understand why they did this. I can support that. Gets hijacked by other people who want to design something for them not to live in, but above. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Check out the YouTube as well. Got the YouTube, Chad Benson Show TV. Go out there, like it, subscribe. All right, kids, Car Shield. Car Shield! Told you about my cars. Got two cars. I got an older car that, it's like paid for, and it's my get-around car. I worry more about the transmission and the engine in that one. It doesn't have any electronics whatsoever. On the other side of things, I have a newer car. It's kind of like a cooler car, and it does have electronics. And I had an issue, and Car Shield sorted it all out, mate. Fantastic. 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson, save you 10%. Call them. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. Be specific. They got plans for any budget, starting as low as $99 a month. Take care of your car and you cover repairs. 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop, and the shop is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. Million-plus customers and growing. Carshield.com, code Benson saves you 10%. Or 800-CAR-6000, code Benson, saves you 10%. Make sure you talk to them. Be specific. They'll take care of you. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
In a 7-2 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Trump administration in an immigration case, saying that streamlined deportation processes do not violate due process rights. Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito said that the Constitution gives the political department of the government plenary authority to decide which aliens to admit. 13 decisions remain outstanding in the court's year. Adam Kelsey, ABC News, Washington.
So, what's that mean? It means this. You're caught close to the border, they can turn around and send you right back. That's what that means. It's a win for Trump, and it's 7-2. It was not 5-4. So that means a couple liberal justices were on the other side. Oh, my God. Oh. Trump's 1 for 1. The DACA one, they're going to come right back at it, file it in a different way. That was a procedural thing. This will be something different next time they come at it. Because there's no way that a president can use an executive order and then not have that executive order undone. You don't think if Biden wins, he's not going to come in there and just undo so many executive orders that Trump has done? The same could be said for DACA. What they should do. Now, if Congress had passed something, just said there, if they did, then he couldn't undo it. Obama did it because he was frustrated with Congress, which I don't blame him for, because Congress doesn't do anything. And the stuff they do is so watered down, so complex and stupid, that it looks nothing like what it starts out to be. Again, you're not going to get perfection. It's about compromise. It's about give and take. But we're now in a everything or nothing world. And you see it everywhere. So we were just talking about cancel culture. It's everything or nothing. There is no, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it was 15 years ago. I thought it was funny. It was funny at the time. But now looking at it, there's none of that anymore. Now it's like, sorry, that was it. You don't get a second chance. It's the same thing. It's all or nothing. Let me tell you what happens in the all or nothing world. You get miserable because you find out more often than not, it's nothing. Live in an all or nothing world. Try that and see how that works. See how happy you are. Bet you're not going to be as happy as you think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter. Uh-oh.
Disneyland saying it won't be reopening on July 17th as planned because the state of California has yet to put out theme park reopening guidelines. But the delay comes as some Disneyland workers have been pushing for the park to remain closed longer out of health concerns. New COVID-19 cases in California reaching record highs this week. Disney is a parent company of ABC News.
Oh, gosh. I know. Oh, boy. I'm not going to be able to pay these people much longer. Uh-oh. Are you bummed, Mickey? Of course. What do you think's going to happen? I don't know. Do you want to open? Well, of course. And I've got Mickey Mask. What are Mickey Masks? Well, you buy them at the park. Special mask with Mickey's face on it. I bet that costs a lot of money. Maybe. This is Orlando Universal. They're already laying people off after they reopened. So it's, like I said, we're going to feel this. 1.5 million people almost filed for unemployment last week. This is, but we're just reopening, and look at the numbers. Well, here's the reality of it. They're starting to realize that they don't need as many workers as they had before. And this is that kind of tsunami-ish feeling we're starting to feel, that rumble. And I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. It does get better. But it's not the flick of the switch. Uh-oh. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It's chaos and craziness. Isn't it weird? We're sitting here watching us tear our own history down, not trying to figure out how we can learn from history, how we can move forward, how we. It's so surreal. Trump's signing executive orders to make sure that the statues and monuments are protected, and I keep joking all the time about Mount Rushmore, but you know it's coming. You absolutely know it's coming. It's coming. It is going to come sooner than people think. Somebody's going to try to do something. You're going to get some politicians that'll say, well, we need to pass a bill to do this, or we need to do, it is coming. And when I look at these monuments, to me, be like, what do you think of them? I'm like, I don't think anything of them. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I was at a monument. To be honest with you, the last statue I saw, this is great. This is the last kind of anything at all. And I'm surprised it's still up. I'm sure it's gone by now. I was in Palm Springs. There was two. They had Marilyn Monroe and her famous upskirt thing, but it was huge. It was like 100 feet. And then there was a statue on a bench. And it was so, producer Phil, you will enjoy this. I was working with this kid. He's a funny guy. His name's Billy. That's all you need. And he likes being called Billy. That's all you need. A punk rocker named Billy. And he's like, hey, dude, will you take a picture of me and the statue on the bench? I'm going to sit next to it. I'm going to send it to my wife. I said, yeah, sure. Took a picture and I gave it to him. And he goes, I sent it, and I look at him, he's typing, he goes, look, hon, I'm sitting here next to a statue of Einstein. It was Mark Twain. But my frustration is, it's that, let's tear it down. It's just, we're going to throw ropes on it, and we're going to rip it down, we're going to light it on fire, and then, what? Nothing's going to change. You haven't done anything. You're just pissed and angry, and you're acting petulant rather than saying, hey. Yeah, this character here was super flawed. Wasn't a good dude. Let's talk about the people that were good. The people that fought against him. The people that stood for something else. Let's tell the whole story, which we don't want to hear anymore. We are over whole stories. We want only stories that fit a certain narrative. Can't have opposing views. Opposing views are not allowed anymore. Do not bring your opposing view here. No, bring your opposing view. That's what we should be. Let's have conversations. Let's have debates. Let's have real, honest, and frank conversations so we can move forward. Not destroy. Build up, not cut down. Recognize the cruelty, the bad. And at the same time, recognize the great, the good. Recognize how far we've come and that we still have places to go. But we don't want that. So what are you going to get now? I mean, Ulysses S. Grant, we're taking you down. Washington, you've got to go. Lincoln, sorry, you're done. You're out. You're done. Got to go. Roosevelt, boom, gone. Frustrating. It is. Because that's something that children do. Well, it's not very nice to say, Chad. No, that's being real. We need to have a conversation. We need to have a real, honest, not debate, conversation, an understanding, and find out how we move past these things. But nobody's interested in that because everybody's too busy not listening to one another, but screaming and yelling at one another. And that's not getting us anywhere. And tearing things down doesn't mean they didn't happen or they didn't exist. So rather than, let's say, I don't know, erect other statues talking about the fights for equality and freedom and the individuals who played huge roles in that. Rather than do that, we'll just tear down the past and learn nothing, I guess. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Oh, my Lord. This damn economy.
The U.S. economy contracted by 5% in the first quarter of the year, and with the coronavirus pandemic only having a major impact in 2 weeks of that 3-month period, economists believe this quarter, which ends next week, will feature the biggest drop on record. The Congressional Budget Office is predicting the economy will grow by more than 21% in the third quarter, but economists say a better health outlook is the most important part of any economic recovery.
And that's true. Another 1.48 million people filed for unemployment last week. A lot of places that reopened over the last month or so are laying off people now because they realize they don't have the income to sustain what they had pre-coronavirus. And that 21% growth in the third quarter, that's all predicated on the fact that we see this thing, become seasonal and disappear, and that we can get back out there and start living the life that we kind of had pre-coronavirus. Maybe not the exact same while they work on a vaccine and a therapeutic. I don't see that happening right now. We're seeing spikes across the board in a lot of places. Now, the good news about that, if there is any good news, a majority of those in the states that are being hardest hit, a good majority of those are young, healthy people. What that means is they're probably not going to need to seek medical treatment. And that's good news. So they're not going to clog up the hospitals, but the hospitals are feeling the pinch right now in certain states because they are seeing a rise. So that 21% growth in the third quarter, I wouldn't be surprised if they revise that sooner rather than later as we start to head into the third quarter and partially through it, when there's a potential that we could be not in a nationwide shutdown, because Larry Kudlow has already come out and said today
Fatalities are still down, and there's a lot of positive declines in cases, just as there are negative declines in cases. So, you just have to walk through that. But no, we will not shut the economy down.
No, not going to shut the economy down on a federal level, but could states start to rethink about, going from phase 2 back down to phase 1? I think that is a very real possibility. So we're going to have to see what takes place sooner rather than later in what some of these states are going to start doing, because they're starting to feel it in, I don't think they thought they'd feel it. I think a lot of states, like Arizona being one, I'm out here, I think they thought we escaped it. We kind of escaped it. We weren't New York, and we're not going to be New York. New York's a much different lifestyle. Build up, not out. Doesn't mean you're not going to get hit by it. But I think the surprise of the numbers that we're seeing, I think that's ooh. And like I said, you're going to start to see certain parts of the economy get re-shut down. When it comes to hospitals, Texas has already taken another step.
With COVID-19 numbers rising in Texas, Governor Greg Abbott is asking residents to stay home, to wear masks, and now Abbott is ordering that elective surgeries be suspended in 4 counties, in Bexar, Dallas, Harris, and Travis counties. All surgeries and procedures that are not immediately necessary are to be put on hold to expand hospital capacity in those counties.
And a lot of what is going on in hospitals are surgeries that have been made up. So, and what do you mean made up? Well, how many states across the country canceled elective surgeries for 60 or 90 days? And elective surgeries aren't just, I need a new hip, I need a new knee. I have a friend that works in the heart world, and outside of heart transplant, she was saying, look, people need stents, and people need, we were basically putting monitors on them and monitoring them because they didn't want us to do elective surgery, and we didn't want to be in a position where we thought this place was going to be overrun with COVID patients. So we're going to bring somebody in and potentially expose them to something when they're already in a compromised position. So when they reopened it up again and they felt it was safe, they were going through and doing as many as possible. I think it's about 16% right now out here, patient-wise, that are taking beds here in Arizona with COVID. So if you take away the elective surgeries, which is a good chunk of what goes on in hospitals, you watch what happens. That's what happened when part of the unemployment in the first part of this year, when COVID was really taken off, and people were like, oh my God, were nurses who were being laid off and healthcare professionals who weren't working because there wasn't any patients for them. Well, what about the corona? Well, they weren't part of the corona fix, if you will. So they didn't have anything to do. And then the hospital, all of a sudden people look up and go, wow, man, it's only 28%. Hospitals like, we can't afford to keep the doors open at this rate. We have to operate at a certain level. But our economy moving forward isn't going to be based on Trump at this moment. The most important people in the economy fix are going to be the people who are trying to find therapeutics and a vaccine to not only help on the health side, but also on the mental side of people feeling comfortable not only going out and rejoining society and spending money, but feeling comfortable that they're not going to lose their job. That's going to be huge, and that's going to be our scientists and our doctors. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Gabby.com/Benson. I'm going to save you some money. How, you say? So do what I did. It takes 2 minutes, absolutely free. You're going to get apples to apples comparison on your homeowners and car insurance for the exact same coverage you have. Find out if you're paying too much or the right amount. Guess what? I was paying the right amount for my homeowners insurance, saved over $1,000 on my car insurance. You can do the same thing. They're never going to spam you or robocall you. Average customer of Gabby saves about $825 a year. And that money helps. Oh, Nelly. It does. And we're talking about Progressive, Nationwide. We're talking about real insurance companies, not some fly-by-night. You're going to get the best of the best, apples-to-apples comparison. Absolutely free. Takes 2 minutes. All you do is you link your info for homeowners and car insurance, and away it goes. Find out what you can save. Go to Gabby.com/Benson, GABI.com/Benson, Gabby.com/Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Give me a bowl of chili with plenty of peppers.
One Mexican heartburn. Why don't you mugs grow up?
The Chad Benson Show, where independent, a la carte thinkers have a seat at the table and a voice in the dialogue.
I'll have what she's having.
This is Chad Benson.
We're seeing hospitalization rates, really go very high. In some areas of Arizona, we're actually seeing almost, at capacity levels, which is bringing a lot of concern to doctors about the July 4th weekend, where we might have to go into surge capacity mode.
It's a possibility. It's Dr. Ali right there talking about that possibility of what's happening. It's not just here. It's, you just heard Governor Abbott out in Texas is telling certain counties, hey, no more elective surgeries right now. We need to protect the hospitals. And out here, it's about 16%, right? Certain states, it's still, because what you look at is the death rate. I know that sounds horrible, but and you look at the hospital capacity to get a better feel of how things are going. If your hospital capacity as far as is fine, it's in the 80s, but only 8 or 10% of the hospital beds are COVID patients, well, that means the other 90% that's there at least aren't there because of COVID. If it's the other way around, that's a serious issue. That is. I think we're about 16%. I'm hearing it's 20. I'm hearing it's 12. Out here in Arizona, Florida, it's the same thing across the board. Different counties affected in different ways. But I can see the 4th of July being an issue because people are going to go out and they're going to party and they're going to have fun. And they're going to be together. And who does that mostly? It's mostly younger people, which is where the spikes are really coming. And if younger people start dropping dead because of this, and young people die because of the flu. Let's not, we always think that, the only people that die of the flu are just really, really young and really. No, young people die every year because of the flu. But it's very rare. It's the same thing with this. Rare. Probably not going to happen in mass. And that's the difference between this and the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu killed everybody, especially young, healthy adults. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. This is scurry, but more and more, and get ready for this, and more adults than ever before live with their parents or grandparents. Oh, what? Yeah. Greatest Generation Z monthly rent losses in dollars. New York, 44 million. Los Angeles, 36 million. Chicago, 19. Dallas, 19. DC, 18. Boston, 17. That's crazy. Other places, like Blacksburg, Virginia, lost in rent, 1.4 million, but 6% of that population no longer lives by themselves. Where like New York and LA, it's about 1%. That's still a lot of percent. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Stagnant job market. You're going to see, without a second stimulus, where you're going to get that $600 a week. You may get another $1,200 check, but you might not get that $600 a week of unemployment, is going to cause those numbers to really increase. Follow along at Chad Benson Show. Check out YouTube, Chad Benson Show TV. This is Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
NASCAR is investigating a horrible incident.
A horrifying, racist, jarring, disturbing,
Heinous, perverted,
ugly,
cowardly,
dreadful,
hateful,
stunning, shocking, appalling, disgusting reminder of who, again, this sport is for.
A noose found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
Obviously, this is completely appalling, but do you think it's surprising?
No, it's not surprising at all.
But it was, because there was nothing there. Now, Bubba Wallace, look, this was, and I did this on the YouTube. You can go check it out, Chad Benson Show TV, yesterday. The reality is, somebody put this up in October. It's a pulley. That's what it is. And I think Bubba was touched by the way that everybody in NASCAR rallied around him. I don't think this was, so many people, and I also posted on Facebook yesterday, and it's interesting because so many people, he's Jesse Smollett. He's not Jesse Smollett. He's not. They're totally, you want his 15 minutes of fame. Trust me. He's got more than 15 minutes of fame. A lot more 15 minutes of fame. He is still doubling down. And I think part of that is a pride thing. Because I think he feels like everybody's gotten behind him. He's also the face of a newer, more inclusive NASCAR and the person that was instrumental in getting the Confederate flag removed. I don't blame him for that. And a lot of people are mad. Oh, Chad, you should call him out for it. Why? Somebody saw it. They took it to NASCAR. They showed him a picture of it. And it went on its merry way. And the FBI's like, no, we don't find anything. Because, you put something here in October. What if that was another driver's? Because you don't know who's going to have that garage or occupy that. What if that was the other person's? We're trying to figure out, who did this? Or what? That's the thing that we're trying to figure out. And he's still continuing to get out there and talk about this.
I've never seen a garage pool like that. It makes me want to drive over to my mom's house where we used to race out of our garage and show a garage pool. Yes, it was a garage pool for our stall at Talladega, but that was in the solid shape of a noose. And when my guys seen that, who happened to be African American, the guy I'll stand by in any trenches any day, walked up and down the garages to make sure he wasn't overreacting. And when he's seen that the other garage pools were basically just a solid piece of rope, no knots in them, and we had a knot that was in the shape of a noose.
Yeah. A lot of people want to make a story out of something that's not. And I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that, you know what? I think he feels like everybody got behind me. I don't want everybody in the sport to start to dislike me as an individual, having nothing to do with race, but all because I'm becoming the only story. And I've said that's one of the big things in sports. Is locker rooms and it's a close-knit community. And NASCAR, while they're rivals, it's a close-knit thing. And if you're always having to answer questions about other people that have nothing to do with who won or lost, it starts to get frustration, and resentment comes out of that. He then went on to say,
Are we hypersensitive to everything that's kind of going on right now in the world? Absolutely. But if you were in my shoes, and I doubt anybody could walk in my shoes, especially at this moment, you would go down that route time and time again, which I never thought I'd be on the phone with FBI. So unfortunately, it's part of our life, part of my life that will stick with me. And I'll learn from this and grow from this and continue to push the positive message forward with what we're trying to change, not only in our sport, but in the world.
I think there's a lot of people that could walk in your shoes who aren't blessed to be NASCAR drivers. Racing ain't cheap to get into. One of my old business partners, his son raced. Wanted to be a NASCAR. It was his dream. He does like funny car now. Says it's a tough sport. Money, it's not just like, you know, you're not. Here's the thing about racing, right? I don't care what color you are, what kind of racing you want to do. It's not like if I'm going to go work out, I'm going to go play soccer. I got a couple little goals. You know, I'm going to go run around, kick the ball around, do this kind. You don't have that. It's not like, hey guys, I'm going to go out today and start racing. It doesn't happen. I think a lot of people could understand. The pressure though is big that he's under. It is. I don't think he did it on purpose. And I'll continue to say that. He's not a Jesse Smollett. He's not. But what you've got to do sometimes is look at the adversity and you plow through it. And you plow through it. And you continue to do so. And sometimes, rather than make a mountain out of something, and I'm not saying that this shouldn't have been brought up, it absolutely should. But sometimes you go out, you win, you show, you have a better footing to get that message out there. I think that's something else. Use your voice. Zero problems with that. Protest. Again, 0 problems with that. But we are very hypersensitive right now to everything. And part of that's the media. The media loves the stories because it's eyeballs, it's clicks, it's likes, it's shares, it's revenue. Like I said, if this was a white driver, nobody says anything. But under the situation and the current feeling in the country, this became a big deal, and the media still loves those kind of big deals. They do. They love a division. They love us fighting and arguing because the establishment side of it loves the narrative that they're able to push out that. But on top of that, you watch it, right? Like it's a train wreck. We watch a train wreck. Oh, I don't want to watch a train wreck. You're stuck in traffic for an hour. You get up and there's lights and all kinds of stuff. Everybody looks. Nobody goes, well, I've been in line for an hour. I better take a look. That's what happens. But I don't think he is a person who is Jesse Smollett-esque. I just think it's the situation, it's the time, it's the perfect storm. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You could text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Coronavirus. Killing our buzz, guys. Killing our buzz.
This is now the 14th straight week jobless claims remained above 1 million as businesses reopen to weak demand, and the virus brings mixed signals. Hard-hit New York is back, but Texas, California, and Utah are showing record-high daily infections, raising fears of setbacks.
Until we can get people on board with the message of wearing masks and social distancing and staying home when they're sick, we will likely continue to see this type of an increase.
Tom Udacco at the Utah Health Department, the renewed outbreak hinders recovery if it makes consumers less willing to be in crowded places.
And that's part of it. So another 1.48 million, almost 1.5 million people in industries that were coming back that realized they don't need the same kind of workforce that they once did. They're reevaluating. A lot of these companies are reevaluating. Do we need as many stores? Do you need to work as many hours? Do we need this much middle management? Smaller businesses are saying, I expected it to be open after 60 or 90 days and us back to full workflow. We don't have that. So we're going to reduce size and or close the doors, and that's a troubling sign. And you're going to have a avalanche that is being seen but not talked about, which is foreclosure. So forbearance and the rent side of things. That's pretty much done. Most states, rent protection and being evicted and the forbearance side of it. Well, guess what? Those things are starting to come due now, and those protections are going to be gone, and mortgage companies and banks are going to be asking for their money, and that probably is going to be tough for a lot of people. So come August 1st, you'll start to really see something that's delayed, but it's out there. 323-538-2420 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. You can text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Okay, kids, Car Shield. I like saving you money. It's what I do. It's who I am. You're a saver, Chad. I am. And I got something for you. So you go to call them. I tell everybody, you can go to carshield.com. Use my code Benson. You'll save 10%. But just call 800-CAR-6000. And tell them exactly what you're looking for. They get plans that start as low as $99 a month, and this is for covered repairs. So what that means to you is maybe you have a car that's a little more modern, and you're not really worried about the engine, but you are worried about the electronics. Or maybe you're worried about your transmission. Your car's a little older. They've got a plan that's right for you at a price that's right for you. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car is in the shop, and the shop, of course, is the shop that you choose. They get them paid directly. It is that simple. It gets no easier than that, kids. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. 800-CAR-6000. Code Benson saves you 10%. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Weeks after pulling Gone with the Wind because of what it calls, quote, racist depictions.
You've been brave so long, Miss Scarlett.
The classic Oscar-winning film now streaming again on HBO Max with a 4-minute intro from TCM host and film scholar Jacqueline Stewart discussing the context of how the film deals with slavery in the South during the Civil War.
The film follows the lead of Mitchell's novel, presenting the antebellum South as a world of grace and beauty without acknowledging the brutalities of the system of chattel slavery upon which this world is based.
And while providing that context, she acknowledges the importance of the film's place in cinema history.
Yeah. First African-American to win an Academy Award. It's like a lot of things. But see, this is the way we've handled this in a different way. Rather than get rid of it altogether, we acknowledge the mistakes, talk about the importance, and don't eliminate it. This is what we should be looking at. But we don't anymore. It's all or nothing. And that is ridiculous. Hattie McDaniel won the Academy Award. You think about that. She won the Academy Award. And they said, yeah, you know, when we call you, you can come in. and then you got to leave. That's the kind of racism that existed. She wasn't too far removed. She's playing a character. She was born in 1893, who I can certainly guarantee you Hattie McDaniel's family members, mother, father, grandparents, didn't know racism. They knew slavery. That's a whole other. That's that. So, but rather than get rid of, rather than blow it up and say, nope, we're done with Gone with the Wind, it needs to go away. We said, no, let's add to it. Talk about the importance. Let's do that. Can't let cancel culture win. We can't. We can't let cancel culture win. Because it's about power, but it's also about erasing bad and good. And it's not about lifting up good. It's not. This is Robert Johnson, founder of BET, talking about, just what's going on out there in this crazy world.
Down statues, trying to make a statement, are basically borderline anarchists, the way I look at it. They really have no agenda other than the idea we're going to topple a statue because what? It's not going to close the wealth gap. It's not going to give a kid whose parents can't afford a college money to go to college. It's not going to close the labor gap between what white workers are paid and what black workers are paid. It's not going to take people off welfare or food stamps.
No, it's not. He's absolutely right. Zero agenda is not going to do any of those things. People talk about reparations. If you want to take money and do something with it, first of all, because the thought process of just the insanity of figuring out how do we even go about, okay, who gets what and who gets that's nuts. Just settle down. How about this though? You want to take money? You want to pour it into underserved communities, minority communities? Hell yeah, let's do it. I've always said if you want to, and I continue to say it, mentoring and getting into these communities and going in and making a difference in building up and taking the knowledge and passing that on will be the greatest wealth, because that lasts a lifetime and then that goes on and lasts generations. Tearing down a statue doesn't fix a problem, doesn't get somebody an education, doesn't feed anybody, not teaching anybody. It's just petulant children being petulant children. More from Robert Johnson.
People having fun that they can go out and pull down a statue and have the mistaken assumption that black people are sitting around cheering for them, saying, oh my God, look at these white people. They're doing something so important to us. They're taking down a statue of a Civil War general who fought for the South. Black people, in my opinion, black people laugh at white people who do this. Same way we laugh at white people who say, we got to take off the TV shows.
Yeah, he gets it. He understands. It's that white guilt. Bill Maher talks about white guilt and the ridiculousness of it. And this bizarre world that we live in where everybody walks around and has self-loathing for themselves.
There was a study done last year where people were asked to rate their feelings about various races, and white liberals were the only group that has a bias against themselves. They want to hang out only with people who are not them. That's like your mother preferring the neighbor's kids. There is a weird self-loathing going on among white liberals, and it's not helping anyone.
No, it doesn't. And then what ends up happening is you give in and you placate and you pander and you become a caricature. And instead of helping solve problems and actually having progress, you create more problems and then yell at everybody else. And part of it's also selfishness, because you can pat yourself on the back and say, I did good. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me. Check out the YouTube channel. Throw some stuff up there in a little bit through Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, my goodness. It is. I see Friday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.